Welcome everybody to another episode of Up and Foiling. We are back after New York weekend. What happened in SailGP?
My first highlight of the weekend was for sure the Brazil first win. Amazing new team to SailGP this year and already collecting the first win. And not only, they had really a great weekend. They showed off in race 4 that they could stay ahead all the way till the end, and that's what Brazil did. How about you, Big House? What's your highlight of the weekend?
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching New Zealand at the third race, just lapping the fleet. I mean, it's a weird condition in SailGP, almost never happened before. They demonstrate superb performances.
Thumbs up for the New Zealand, but not thumbs up from my side to SailGP itself, because my highlight for the weekend is actually not for this weekend, it's for next race weekend, where I will see again races from the helicopter where I could understand who is in front, who is second, who is third with augmented reality, because this weekend I understood nothing. I barely understand something with the augmented reality, and I was just like, okay, amazing cameras, but well, am I looking at the first or at the 10th boat? I don't know. So please, SailGP, bring back the helicopter.
And then we had also
the augmented reality.
Yeah, then we had this lapping, and so yeah, actually was impossible to really understand what's going on. So
it was very hard to follow, and even the commentators got lost at one point when they missed the final moment of a team winning their own race, because everything is going on in different parts of the race course. It's so hard when some boats are foiling, some not. The distances between the fleet become so big. Some people were suggesting in the comments, and I think it's a very good idea, to have a small screen, like maybe in the bottom right, where you show where the boats are on the race course. Not like a graphic, of a view. So then they can do close-ups on the boats, but you also have a full picture of the whole race course, right?
Yeah, I think that's not actually much difficult to do, and that's a really good idea, Ricky. We should tag SailGP. It's very simple, or maybe have copyrights on our ideas so that we get money.
Not our idea. Someone commented.
Okay, we delete the comment. But speaking about money and SailGP, I know that we had some news about new investors, especially for the Italian team.
All right. Yeah, we have the new Catwoman on board. Yeah, we have Hannah, which has joined the SailGP Italian team, Red Bull Italy. And we have another. He has a really famous woman, Jessica Chastain. So we are talking about
wife.
Yeah, you're right. He's actually being part of the investors as well. So we are talking about Hollywood stars. So maybe this is a trend. Maybe we will have more superheroes to join in the future. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, it must be Spitil's charms that attract all these famous Hollywood stars, or maybe it's Bruni's nose, right? We don't know.
The famous Bruni's nose that helped in the America's Cup.
Yeah.
So and, we have heroes from DC Universe and from Marvel Universe. Who's the next one, Ricky?
Maybe Robert Downey Jr., like Iron Man joining the US. We don't know, but you heard it here first.
And guys, how did you like the new design of the Australian boat? The new bonds, with a new bond sponsor.
I really enjoyed the new style. But guys, did you notice the kangaroo was wearing underwear actually?
Yeah, very fun one for bonds there. Great marketing, I think. And they should have pointed it out more, because it's not super clear at the beginning. But if you focus on it and then you see it, it's quite funny, really.
Like a boxer on board.
I'm wondering if all the crew is forced to wear those underwear. That would be funny.
They did have a picture for marketing where they all were wearing underpants.
Yeah, for marketing, yes, but maybe you want to do it for real, you know?
Maybe not in England in the next SailGP event, but when they come maybe to Spain, if they do a racing in Italy in the end, it could be better there.
Yeah.
Warmer temperatures, they could do it in underwear.
So let's dig a little bit more in the details of the 2 days of regatta we had in New York. As we said, day one was a bit of a struggle. What can you tell me, Ricky, about this first day where it could have been raced in Lombardy in Italy, where there is fog all the
Yeah,
time.
we were talking about the skyline of New York. It would have been fun to see the boats with, skyscrapers in the background. But in reality, well, it was so rainy that we didn't get to see much of that. And with all this rain, they had to move the races ahead of the schedule before a big storm came in. So that's why we had little wind. We had a lot of rain. The crews were soaked. And for these conditions, then it's very hard to see the winds and gusts on the water, right? And during the first race, we had a 3-person crew to mix things all up. So in the end, we had the first 5 races, Big House, that we had 5 different winners, right?
Yeah, we had like this 5 different winners, and yeah, that's one of the positive aspect of the SailGP. So everyone has the chance to win. So actually, we don't have. I mean, we have big winners and big. I would say not loser, but okay, big teams that are a little bit out from the main, let's say, championship standing area. So, but yeah, that's really, to me, it's a really positive thing about CLGP. We really see the competition of the different teams, and yeah, it's there is no supremacy at all in Italy. So
yeah, and you were saying about the low wind, right? And the current was playing a big role, right? It's not really only sea there, but there's also the Hudson River, and you could see the marks. They had to keep the engine, the motors on continuously to stay in position because they were fighting against this current. But of course, the sailing boats don't have these engines. So when there's less wind, then they have to really calculate a lot with the current, not to miss their ley lines. And in some occasions, like when the US team got stuck at a mark, then it's really a roadblock. And it creates a lot of traffic.
Stuck over there. Yeah, everyone was stuck, and the water was a weird situation. Yeah, looking at the race, where everyone was basically still on the water.
So we had Spain taking the win in race 1, while Australia got the first position in race 2, and as we said, New Zealand dominating race 3.
Wow.
So that the standing at the end of the first day would see Spain in first position with 25 points, and then Denmark and France with the same amount of points, 20, with New Zealand following very closely at 19. And then in day 2, we had other amazing races and a big surprise in race 4, right, Ricky?
Yeah, we had Team Brazil, Mubadala, Team Brazil, that won their first race. They had gone very close on day 1 to a win, but they got passed by Australia. But then on day 2, they finally got their win. I think it's really a statement to the great work Martin Gael is doing with the team. It's really impressive, especially by how hard it was, right? The conditions were very hard. It was really gusty, especially on the second day. And with these big L foils, they didn't have the T foils on, they had the L foils. And I think they weren't expecting this much wind because they also had quite a big size of wing. And so you could see in the maneuvers, sometimes while turning, for example, that the boats would just jump out of the water because they had these 2 big foils, right? There's too much lift. The bigger the foil, the more the lift. And so they were really hard to control, and it's really impressive that Brazil got the win in these conditions.
First position.
Yeah.
So then in race 5, we had France winning. So as you said, 5 races, 5 different winners. And race 6 was won by Australia, but the focus was actually more on who gets to the final. And the battle was between Brazil and Spain as well, with Spain getting into the final in the last couple of legs.
Yeah,
Yes.
heartbreak for Brazil.
Yes, all the tactics from Spain were guessed, I will say, because they've chosen to go right, while the Brazil team went left on the track, and yeah, probably that maneuver, that split was the reason why we had this final between Spain, New Zealand, and France. Yeah, was France.
Yeah, France was in the final. And we had an opportunity to have also in the championship style, we had the opportunity to have 6 events with 6 winners, but that was not the case. We had France in the final. I was hoping for France to win, but Spain, the first team that wins 2 events in this season, right, Theo?
Yeah, it's actually a second win in a row after San Francisco. So the final was actually pretty exciting battle between Spain and New Zealand, with Spain taking the lead from the very beginning, but the Spain needed to defend against Peter Burling attacks. It's a guy that doesn't look friendly, even in the photo of the SailGP website, so I cannot even imagine while sailing. But they actually had a mistake in one of the last marks. So in the end, it was not really a fight until the last meter, but nevertheless, it was a pretty tough final and a demonstration of power from Spain, I would say. And now Spain is actually in the first position of the general standing. Now Spain is first with 46 points and Australia is just there with 45. And New Zealand with 44. They are very, very close. I always wonder how they can always be 1-2 points far away from each other. Yeah, it's very interesting.
This season is so close, and we've seen what happened to GBR, right? This weekend they really flopped. We didn't see them much. They weren't on camera a lot, and yeah, teams are consistent like New Zealand, Australia. In the end, they're always there. Spain, of course, now is heading, so they must be doing something right. But GBR, they've had a couple of events that have not been great, right?
Yeah, a couple of bad maneuvers, I would say, with the difficulties of low wind and high wind, and then they basically, I remember it was on Sunday they did this mark turn where they jumped out of the water and then they went down from the foils, and as they did, many other teams did, but yeah, for them was a bad weekend, I would say. Yeah, maybe when they will be at home next time in the next event, I will get all the support from the fans.
We the worst among the best. Great Britain is always fourth.
Yeah, it's always fourth.
There are nations or teams that are way worse, and I say it with a pain in my heart.
Yeah.
Very stinker weekend for Italy, especially with the new sponsors.
They should invest more, I think.
More Hollywood stars.
You see, Team Brazil, got this new win, and we have basically the New York event was sponsored by Mubadala, so yeah, it's the same sponsor as the team. So maybe something happened in the
conspiracy theory of the house.
I'm just kidding. No,
okay.
No, another team that, unfortunately, talking about fans support, yeah, we have seen the US team did not get much from their fans because they're still struggling, and actually it has been still a poor weekend for them. So they are still in at the back of the standing and at the back of the event final results. So they just need to keep improving. Yeah.
Big disappointment for the USA fans. Yes, they turned up in numbers. There was huge crowds, even with all that rain, but that wasn't enough to get the team across the lines in a decent position, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think we really need Iron Man to come to support the US team, maybe future.
Yeah, who knows? That's a good wrap, right?
And that's a wrap for our New York event. The weather was merciless in New York. I would like to see something more at the next event of the sightseeing.
We look forward to seeing you all in our next episode on Up and Foiling.
All right.
Oh yeah.